This is an old dimmer switch. This is a new dimmer switch. This works with LED bulbs. It might not seem like that big of a deal, but when this light is on, we hear the hum from the LED lights above. So today, let's find out how to switch these out. Needed to change angles here so that you guys could actually see my hands and the unit. So after we unscrew our 4 bolts, always make sure that the power is turned off to the unit. And then undo the mounting screws. Once we get our screws out, we can pull out our old system. Now this is interesting. This is the hot line is here, which is also tying and directing power back to this switch. So these are both being fed by this one wire nut right here. So we're going to take care of that first, so that it doesn't accidentally shock us. And we are going to remove the ground as well. I'm going to attempt to reuse this line. It's pretty mangled. You should always turn the power off when working on electric. This makes it easier to demonstrate. This switch here powers the lights above. This line here powers both. To make this a little bit more safe, first thing we're going to do is Wago our conductors. We're just going to move those out of the way. It's where things get real interesting. Going to unwrap our connector. We can dispose of this. Temporarily reuse this wire nut, so everything here is safe. This is the part of the video where I'd like to remind everybody that working with electricity is dangerous. So we paused the video, we went downstairs, we turned off the breaker, and now while we did that, we have our 2 points separated. And even though the power is off, we have them capped because you never know if somebody can turn that power back on from somewhere else. So our next step is going to be using not a Wago, but a push connect. That is a 3-way. We're going to be adding a tail to our 3-way. Now, seeing as there's no possible way to injure yourself, I can show you this because we're totally not working on live circuits here. You want to use your measurement, which is built in here, to know how much conductor you need to strip back. And we have our visual that all 3 conductors are properly inserted. And now we can begin to install our switch. So we're going to cheat, and we're actually going to pre-wire and then tail back to these conductors. So we'll show you what to do on this next. So on this is our hot line. This is our line that leads back up, and this is our ground line. Now this is actually wired so that it can be a three-way switch as well, so that you can have two switches turn on and off one single light source. For this, we are not using a three-way. This is our red line, which is going to be here, which is the line that returns back to the light. Now it's conveniently also marked red, so we're just going to use a red wire for demonstration purposes. This is our green or ground, which goes to our green wire here. And then our black goes to our hot. So let's do that now, where we can still see the wire and we can make sure that it's properly clamped down. So we're just going to do that there. And now that is not going anywhere. We can't tug that up. You could easily over torque these. Luckily, these screws will probably strip out before you can do that. So this isn't ever going anywhere. And we can see we have no non-insulated points sticking out. So we're going to do the same for our black line. And then we're going to ground it. Now that we have our wires put in, our red switch line, our black main power line, and our ground line, we simply need to pop them in. Always ground first, and it's as simple as that. Attaching our switch. Make sure our switch is off. Make sure our switch is off. And we're in. Just like that, we are powered up again. Final stage is make sure when we turn our light on, we have our switch in the right orientation. Down should be off, up should be on, down dims. Our next step is to reinstall our wall plate, which fits perfectly. Last step is to test that everything works. Now you might be wondering, why do we Wago everything with lever switches? And the answer to that is, this did not solve our problem. So we're going to test out and find out which is the best switch to use to get rid of that problem of the buzzing if you have that at your house. Because of these LED lights that seem so popular everywhere. That's our next mission. So if you're having the same buzzing issue, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll figure it out together.